She cut in front of a wheelchair van to steal a disabled parking space. No placard, no shame, just a smug smirk in her Cadillac. But when the cops arrived and started asking the right questions, she had no idea her lies were about to cost her $750. And her dignity. What she didn't know. The kid she stole that spot from was a police chief's grandson. If you've ever dreamed of seeing a real-life Karen get exactly what she deserves, you're in the right place. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment if you've ever seen karma work this fast. This one's not just satisfying, it's personal. I'll never forget that day at Costco. The sun was blazing, the Florida humidity hanging thick like syrup in the air. I was just there to run a few errands, nothing fancy. My name's Josh, I'm 28, and I've got a GI condition that qualifies me for a disabled parking placard. But I try to be mindful with it. If I'm feeling good and someone else clearly needs a spot more, I'll walk the extra distance. And that's exactly what I was doing that day. I pulled into one of the last available disabled spots. Right as I did, I saw a large van circling slowly nearby. Hanging from their rear-view mirror was a blue disabled placard, just like mine. Something told me they needed it more. And when I glanced over, I caught a glimpse of a boy in the passenger seat, maybe 10 or 11, thin arms resting limp his lap, head slumped to one side. That van was for someone who couldn't just walk a little further. So I did what felt right. I shifted my car into reverse to pull out and give them the spot. And that's when it happened. Like a silver bullet from hell, a spotless Cadillac sedan whipped around the corner and slid right between me and the van. Slammed into the spot like she owned it. No placard, no hesitation, just entitlement. I hit the brakes hard, heart pounding in my chest. The van driver, a woman maybe in her 60s, stepped out fast. Not aggressive, but definitely not quiet. Her eyes were fire and ice all at once. I stayed in my car at first, still trying to process what just happened. But I watched, and I listened. Karen, because that's exactly what she was, stepped out of Cadillac with her sunglasses still on, hair perfectly styled like she just walked off a golf course. Florida chic. The van lady wasted no time. "Excuse me," she snapped. "That spot is for people with disabilities. You don't have a placard." Karen barely turned her head. "Yeah? Well, it was open, and you were taking forever. First come, first served." That sentence, said so flippantly, cracked something inside me. The van lady pointed at her placard. "My grandson is in a wheelchair. You saw that." Karen laughed. "So park further down and wheel him in. You don't own the space." My jaw clenched. I wanted to speak, but I was raised to avoid conflict. My mom used to say, "Pick your battles, Josh." So I stayed quiet for now. But I noticed something on Karen's bumper, an Ontario, Canada license plate. That'd be important later. Karen strutted off toward the store like nothing had happened. The van lady pulled out her phone, clearly fuming. I thought she was calling the police and nearly rolled my eyes. Cops here are slow. They wouldn't make it in time. Karen would be done shopping and gone. But then, not even 5 minutes later, a patrol SUV pulled into the lot. Fast, efficient, purposeful. The van lady nodded at me to come over. "Can you speak to him?" You saw what happened. Finally, a battle worth picking. I stepped forward, adrenaline humming through my veins. The officer, a stocky guy with a no-nonsense vibe, turned toward me. "You witnessed this?" "Yeah," I said. I was giving up the spot to her because I saw her grandson and figured they needed it more. Then the Cadillac just swooped in. No placard. Nearly hit both of us. Right on cue, Karen returned. Her shopping cart was full of organic groceries and righteous indignation. "Officer," she said with a forced smile, "I think there's been a misunderstanding. I saw them arguing over the spot, and I just parked. Gaslighting. Classic. The officer didn't bite. Ma'am, did you see either of these vehicles moving before you pulled in?" Karen stuttered. Well, I mean, he was leaving, right? So..." He cut her off. "Do you have a disabled placard or license plate?" "No, but it was only for a few minutes." He raised an eyebrow. So you admit to using a designated space without proper credentials. Karen started to look nervous. Her eyes flicked to the van, where the boy, now visible through the windshield, sat quietly in his chair. Clearly, she scoffed. If he can park here, why can't I? That did it. I saw the officer's expression change. Ma'am, he said, his tone now clinical. You're from Ontario? She blinked. Yes, I'm Canadian. But I live here now. How long? About a year. I moved in with my husband. He's American. Interesting, the officer replied, flipping through his notepad. Because according to Florida law, non-citizens residing here more than 6 months must register their vehicle within 10 days. This car is still registered in Ontario. Karen froze. She was trying to do mental gymnastics, but she'd already given the wrong answer. I'm going to have to cite you for failure to register a vehicle in Florida, which carries a $500 fine, he said calmly, and an additional $250 for parking in a disabled spot without authorization. $750. Her face crumbled. She tried to argue, waving her hands, saying things like, I didn't know, and this is ridiculous, and isn't there a warning or something? Nope. She snatched the ticket out of his hand and slammed her car door shut, fuming like a toddler denied candy. The officer turned back to us and nodded. She won't be doing that again. I looked over at the van lady. She exhaled slowly, the tension melting from her shoulders. I didn't actually call 911, she said, a glint of mischief in her eyes. Really? I asked. Nope. I called my son. He's a police chief. I blinked, and that's his son in the van. I blinked again. The officer, one of the chief's deputies, stationed just down the road. Karen had picked the worst possible person to mess with. And the best part? Justice wasn't just served. It was personal. After she left, the van lady and her grandson parked in peace. I went on to do my shopping. The sun still burned outside, but everything felt lighter somehow. Some people think rules don't apply to them. They cut corners, gaslight others, and live off entitlement. But sometimes karma doesn't wait years to arrive. Sometimes it shows up wearing a badge and carrying a $750 ticket. If this story hit the sweet spot of justice for you, give it a like. Share it with someone who needs to believe that karma is still alive and well. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories where the bad guys lose and the good ones win. Have you ever seen instant karma in action? Tell us in the comments.